All right, welcome to Friday, February 10th with Cirillo. You know, the day where Paul rolled out one day after Cirillo got in his new seat. We're talking about JD Power, some BYD stuff, and Dick's Sporting Goods doing automotive. The people really want to know who I is and who I be. I'm telling you, all these other retailers, they're going to start to realize that auto was really ahead, you know? Okay, maybe we stole a playbook out of Apple. Whatever. Fine.
Whatever.
Cirillo, how you doing this morning, sir?
Excellent. Busy day. Lots of messages.
Did you get 33,000 text messages? Like, what'd you do?
Yeah. Text messages, LinkedIn messages, Facebook Messenger messages, and messengers.
This is the wild one to me, the Facebook Messenger messages.
Yes.
I like someone messages me on that, and 33 days later I respond. I'm like, sorry, I'm not a bad human, I promise.
Yeah, I don't prioritize. I go to Facebook for marketplace, and because my neighborhood has a delightful trading post group where they post things, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and actually the only reason why you just need a laugh every once in a while, you go to the neighborhood thing, you're like,
yeah, you get into Messenger and you're like, oh, dang, I got all the president of France reached out to me. What?
That's great. That's so good. Hey, we've got a lot going on in the Asodu-verse. This is, if you didn't hear yesterday, Michael's joined us as our new chief of staff. He hasn't left Flex Dealer, but he's integrated in the team, and we're excited to see what that brings in a little trifecta between myself, Paul, and him, and then supporting the rest of the 12-person team that we have now, and we're moving and growing. If you haven't held out some dates, you got to put April 5th on your calendar. You got to put September 25th to the 27th on the calendar, because we're going to be running all over the country with Team Asotu. But we just seriously, we got to get into it because we got all things used cars coming up in just a little bit with David Long. David Long's all things used cars, and we're talking sales teams this morning. So what do you say we get into the news unless you got anything? All right, here we go. So first story, Lexus takes back the top spot for dependability, while Kia, who was the top last year, dropped to third overall, even though they maintained their top spot in the mass market brands. We wanted to segment a couple other little things, like the most dependable model, both in the Lexus Toyota brand. You got the Lexus RX with the top spot, tied with the Toyota CHR, and then in the compact SUV, which is one of the largest growing segments in the world right now and in the country, the Kia Sportage, followed by the Buick Envision, and the Jeep Cherokee rounded out that compact SUV category. Now, the way that JD Power looks at this is they look at a per 100 vehicle issues reported, and responses range anywhere from the low 120s all the way up to the mid 200s problems per 100 vehicles. So you're looking at like anywhere between 1.2 to 2.5 problems per one vehicle. And Lexus, not a surprise, hitting that top spot again, Cirillo.
Hey, well, you know what? When you figure out how to do a thing, you just keep doing it over and over and over again, right? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep. Yeah, it's something that obviously Lexus and Toyota have led for a lot of years, and we see them leading in not just overall, but also market segments. The automotive news article that we cited stated that information technology is continuing to be a sticking point for automakers, which still has twice as many problems as the next largest category, vehicle exterior. So it's like IT stuff is the biggest issue, and then you go to like body stuff and the things that manufacturers should be really good at. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I got some opinions about automakers and information technology systems. Did you know that?
I don't know that, but I could assume that you've had opinions about it. But you know what? It makes sense. Like, I had this conversation with one of my team members at Flex the other day, and as we're developing new products, I'm like, if it's not beautiful, people will not use it. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what kind of phone do you use? He's like, iPhone. I'm like, why? Right? It was like a very simple conversation.
Yep.
If it's not beautiful, and I'm with you, because one of the things that grinds my gears about my beloved Silverado is that its infotainment system sucks.
Man,
I'm so bad.
It's bad. Yeah, I
All
was.
bad.
Ah, man, like we were in a what were we in last week? An expedition, I think, and with a dealer, and basically, in order to change the air, like move the air, it was 4 button clicks just to start that. And the person that was driving it was like, I used to just be able to like hit one button and turn down the air, right? But now I gotta like hit this, hit that, so wait for it to load, slide it down. And information technology is just not the strong suit of automakers. Like they need to lean, and that's why I love like the Honda Sony partnership. That's why I love people leaning into making sure that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto work better and more seamlessly, because just not everybody's into IT. Now, there is one brand that is into IT, and that's Tesla. But here's what's crazy. This year's study included Tesla owner responses for the first time, and Tesla scored 242 problems per 100 vehicle, which would put them basically dead last.
Well, this is what happens when you're a software maker. This is why people don't get the latest version of Apple OS right away, or
Yep.
like you need a group of beta testers, and automakers are I think they're gonna get to a place where they're like, wait, we need beta testers on our cars before
Whoa.
we roll out new vehicle updates.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I like it. I like it. Tesla still continues to remain unranked because they just won't let JD Power have access to a lot of user data that would help them get there in the rankings. And yeah, if you're a Lexus or Toyota dealership, I bet you're sitting a little pretty this morning. But one automaker is not sitting so pretty.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
Just recently, it has been announced that Berkshire Hathaway has sold off a large portion of their shares in Chinese EV automaker BYD. Initially, they invested 228 million shares for $232 million. The sale lowered Berkshire Hathaway's holdings from 12.26 to 11.87 in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And now they've sold off over 95 million of its original shares, which I just think is like, we've seen this from a few different places. And obviously Berkshire Hathaway is a big investor, but also has a lot of ties to auto. They have an auto group, and then also is playing in the sandbox of these OEMs. But to see Warren Buffett's company go, I'm not quite as sure now of these EV automakers and their viability long term. I think it's just like an insight that might be leading to a path of more people we've been talking about it all week, dealers and OEMs starting to question more the EV landscape.
It's, you know what, this just maps back to everything we already know about our human nature, which is when something new comes out, when are we gonna just shut up and observe before we all open our dang yaps?
ChatGPT,
EV, it's like everything. And I mean, we see this all the time, and it's like, well, hold on, but what happens when we just observe for a minute and think about what the implications of this before we all jump on the hype bandwagon? And
yep.
So
I was actually talking to Scott Simons last night, and one of the manufacturers that he has the pleasure of being a part of with his group of brands there in the Valley. They had a meeting, and they were basically like, "Hey, don't worry, we've got plans, but we're taking this steady, and we realize that the ground game right now is important. So we are still like depending on dealers and staying like close to the ground and asking you to give us the feedback so that we can make quality plans as an OEM on what's happening on the ground." And I was like, yo,
yeah. Oh, okay.
This may or may not be one of those OEMs that a lot of people want to have in their repertoire as groups. So,
right. Yeah. 100%. You know what I would really love to see though, from the Berkshire Hathaway umbrella is a purer integration between all of their properties. Like, if they're going to be in vehicles, then I want to open up the glove box and have an unlimited supply of Burger King burgers and a Pepsi machine while towing like a Forest River trailer. I want
just
greater integration of all their properties.
Yeah, you're like, why? They should just put Burger Kings in all the stores,
Yeah,
just be
exactly.
done with it, right?
Yeah, Burger King and a Taco Bell and like a KFC and Pepsi Cola and trailers. Like the ultimate
Yeah.
playground.
Yeah, just create like a little auto mall, but all that stuff exists as well. It's
Exactly.
a genius play. It's a genius play. Well, speaking of organized partnerships,
Stop. Segue. Time.
Dick's Sporting Goods in 2022 created a relationship with a company called Sideline Swap, which allowed them to start with 60 trade-in events across the U.S., allowing their buyers and purchasers to trade in their used gear, similar to like a Play It Again Sports did back in the day and is still there, and get credits or donate their credits to buy new gear or donate it to someone that may need it more than them. Right now, athletes can exchange their used sports gear and get gift cards or donate to local sports organizations. And then anything that doesn't qualify for trade-in can be donated or recycled responsibly. This, for me, Cirillo, is like a little play out of the automotive trade cycle management playbook. Like, we're going to throw a big trade-in event, right? But what I love is that it gives you like multiple ways to engage with it and potentially resource others to be able to get into something. It's like this charitable donation, but trade cycle management and getting people out of their used gear into their new gear. And I think like wrapping that into the auto ecosystem is really important.
Yeah, this is a play out of the Genius Marketer Handbook because it, like you said, it incorporates gamification, and I mean, we all love a good game.
Yep.
It incorporates service of the community and giving back, so there's an emotional response, and we know that's the highest level of marketing sophistication is when you can induce an emotional response. So they got that, and then, like you said, yeah, it's a play out of just like trade cycle management and out with the old, in with the new, repurpose the old, make it new for someone else, and on and on and on we go. So it's genius. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. They're moving to 19 states and 200 events. So just the thought here for me is like, hey, dealers, the reality is that people are starting to get much more used to trade cycle management requests as far as like marketing campaigns are concerned, even from major retailers, right? Phones have been kind of used to this for quite some time now, since the early 2000s, but we're starting to see trade in be a typical term in more retail outlets. So it's an opportunity to really lean into that consumer perception that trading in is good, that it's a regular part of things that I do with everything, and going, hey, maybe we just start to throw events again centered around trade-in and less around sales, especially as the used vehicle market gets constrained, acquiring vehicles gets harder. Maybe, targeting trade-in and trade-in events are something that people are getting used to outside of the auto vertical, and so it's easy to bring it back and continue to press into it in the retail vertical.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Makes total sense. That's why we got to be paying attention. We got to be paying attention to the out and the in of the industry, because all of this kind of stuff is happening every day all around us, and those that pay attention get the food in the belly.
There you go. Hey, gave you the little last word there. Hey, pay attention, watch other verticals, keep your feet to the ground, look up, look down, and keep serving people today. Let's go.